Hello, my name is Rick Sagiet, and welcome to Kla-How-Ya, a program sponsored by the Berlin Friendship Center, located at 2902 29th Avenue. On our program today, we'll be featuring a special debut by Val Brewer, and she will be interviewing Hannah Wilson, and they'll be talking about the Youth Leadership Development Program, which happened at the Enoquin Center in Penticton. And that interview should be very interesting, so stay tuned for that interview.
Thank you, Rick. Hannah, what has the Youth Leadership Development Training course prepared you for?
The purpose of the Youth Leadership Development course training program was to equip a person, well, me, with the skills to become a peer counselor.
And what can a peer counselor accomplish?
Okay, first of all, a peer counselor is mainly with my own peer group, okay, and that's to help youth my own age to, well, actually I'm a listener is what I am. I listen to problems, and because people tend to talk easier to people their own age. Okay, we do not solve the problems or give advice, but rather we offer alternatives. And we try not to help them. What we try to do is like encourage and like be friends, help them to develop their own problem-solving skills, and so that they can find their own alternatives rather than us making decisions or anybody making their decisions for them, and allow them to realize that they are responsible for their own decisions that they make. Also, we help in goal setting, and whether they're short-term or long-term. And if they come to us with something like a really severe problem that I've had no experience with or another counselor hasn't, then we refer them to someone more knowledgeable, like a professional counselor, a specialized counselor. See, we're not specialized counselors. We're not drug and alcohol counselors. We're not family violence counselors. Rather, we're more or less listeners and friends, like for any of the youth that have problems that they feel they can't go to an older person about, then they could come to one of us. And that's what a peer counselor is.
So you help people get things off their chest, and maybe once they start that, then they can begin looking at someone who can help them further, a professional person.
So you sort of break the ice.
And that's the first step.
Yeah.
Yes. How did you begin your course?
You mean the first days?
The first, when you began, how did you begin?
Okay, the first thing we did in our course was our own personal growth. See, we came in, we're not counselors. We never took anything like this. So the first thing we did was our own personal growth. And that's getting to know ourselves better, and us learning how to deal with our own problems and getting them out of the way so that we can help other people with their problems. And one of the things that it involved was a lifeline, and that was doing everything from as far back as you can remember, good and bad. So the more you did it, as you did it, you could see where your problems were, and maybe you might have forgot about them and pushed them back in the back of your mind. And then you learn about your own problems, and then you can deal with them, overcoming them, you can face them, understand them, and then overcome them. And that's what we did in the first few weeks there. It was a lot of personal growth and own self-awareness and confidence building, things like that.
And the lifelines your class went through, they helped you then to get some insight on problems you haven't experienced yourself?
Yeah, they did a lot, because problems that I might have thought, like I had bad problems or something like that, and then somebody else comes along and they have maybe a worse problem than I do. So then it gives me a lot of insight on the different types of problems that people have that I might not know about or experienced.
And also how it affected them? Did they?
Yep, that too.
That too. What kind of problem areas did you look at?
Okay, we looked at, we touched on drug and alcohol, of course, and family violence, physical abuse, child sexual abuse, suicide, depression, and topics like that. Those are just a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Why do young people have such trouble coping? What are they missing in their life?
I think young people today aren't being listened to. They aren't being heard. And that's one of the many problems. And then plus, I guess when they have nobody to talk to or nobody seems to be listening, they turn to drugs and alcohol, I guess, or juvenile delinquency.
I guess they have a lot of life skills they're missing.
Yes, they are.
Hannah, were you able to get any practical experience in counseling?
Well, we did have a 2-week practicum course, and I was at the Penticton Women's Shelter. And although there's no, well, actually there was youth there, well, considering there was a couple of women the same age as I was there. So I did get my first taste of counseling there, and it was fun because I didn't realize I was counseling at all. I thought I was just being a friend and listening. And then after a while I started thinking realized I was counseling. So that was all right. I was there for 2 weeks. And that was a good experience there at the Penticton Women's Shelter.
So people were opening up and talking to you?
Yes, but I realized that I can't go right out and just like start talking to somebody and expect them to open up to me. I guess only a really experienced counselor can do that. But I have to gain more experience in this. And like this course was only 3 months, and for me that's just a stepping stone to go on more. And this just kind of whets my appetite for more.
What were the more interesting subjects in your course?
Okay, the best thing I like about that course was there was no structured pattern. There was nothing like we would sit down to learn that day. Whereas Marty our instructor, felt that since we would be going out into the field, that we should be exposed to different areas of things so that we'd be more aware of what's going on and to kind of have a better understanding of how people felt and acted. So we went to, we had a lot of elders come in and speak to us, which was nice. It was really good. We went to see a few. And
what were some of the topics the elders spoke on?
Okay, we went up to an elders gathering in Alkali Lake on the self-government. Marty thought that we should be exposed to that too, so that we could, because we have to value other people's opinions. We can't force our own on anybody else, so we're kind of getting exposed to other people's opinions and thoughts. And so we had that on self-government. We went to another workshop on the medicine wheel to learn some of the traditional ways, because there was a lot of us that really didn't know too much about the traditional ways. We went to another workshop on the membership code, and that's with Bill C-31. And then we went to, we heard another speaker, Bruce Elijah from the Six Nations, and he spoke with us, and which was really interesting. I really liked him, listening to him. And we heard a lot of legends, well, not so much legends, but prophecies from, we heard like 1 or 2 from every elder we went to and heard from. We heard prophecies that have come true, that are coming true. And one in particular that's happening now today is, which is kind of neat, was years ago, elders prophesied that people from the tribes would be leaving, and years would pass and they'd come home, but they'd be sick and they'd be marked and things like that, and they were wanting to come home, and that part of the legend was that we were supposed to welcome them home.
And that's happening right now.
Yeah, it seems to be happening right now with the reinstatement of status, or non-status, which was nice. We went to a lot. It was really good.
So you had a very well-rounded course.
Mm-hmm. And towards the end of the course, we had to do public speaking, which was uncomfortable. But we had to it gave us like a idea of what a workshop is, how a facilitator does, and we had to do an hour on a topic of our choice. And so we had like topics from all over.
So you facilitated a workshop.
A mini workshop.
And what was the main topic of yours?
Okay, mine was on depression, and that which lasted all morning. And we had other topics on suicide, child sexual abuse, and which was really hard hitting, that one. And we had others on some traditional ways, just all youth, or the Youth Offenders Act, and it just went from, it varied from one thing right to the other, just jumped back and forth. It was a really interesting course. It wasn't boring. Not one day it was boring.
On these workshops, did you have to research your topic?
Yes, we had to put a lot of time into our workshops because we couldn't just grab a book and spout from the book, because we had to read our material and know it and get up there and speak about it.
So that enlarged your view of one particular problem more than in just the course content?
See, I learned more on depression by researching it than I probably would have just listening to somebody else speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you've taken on a big responsibility doing peer counseling. What influenced you to begin?
okay, one of the things was when I was, well, I can't say I'm old now, but when I was younger, I really had no one to talk to. Like, you know, there's not too many people you can go up to and talk to about your problems. And back then, there was nobody but your friends, like your own peer group. So now I think I'm hoping to be able to talk to a few youths, you know, be there to listen, I should say. And I'm going on to more, too. I want to be more. So I'll be a counselor someday.
So it's made you want to, have you decided to specialize in any particular counseling, or would you like to be just a general counselor?
I've been really thinking about going into social work, and I'd like to get, my long-term goal is to be in the social work area field, but I want to be one of the people that screens foster parents.
Do you see a problem with foster parenting?
Listening to a few of the people in our course, what they've gone through, yeah.
And mostly with young people and what they feel they need?
Mm-hmm. I've been, listening to a lot of what they've been saying they want, which is to be listened to. And there's just a lot of things they need.
Mm.
So I'm going to try.
Well, thank you for your interview, Hannah, and I wish you all the success in the world.
Well, thank you, Val.
And I really hope you're able to help all the young people who need you.
Well, thank you.
You've just seen Val Brewer with her first interview here on Kla-How-Ya. And we'd like to thank Hannah Wilson for taking the time to visit us and talk a little bit about the Youth Leadership Development Program.